Tonight, we've got two absolutely stunning ladies joining us on stage to share their story, Anri Powell and Yolandé Koupis. They are the owners of Ace Models and Perky Jams, respectively, and they've collaborated and host Miss Free State. So without further ado, ladies, welcome. It's an absolute honor to have you here tonight. Could you share where it is that you started in your transition into entrepreneurship?
Hi, Leslie. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. It's amazing to be here. Such an honor. Thank you so much for that. I think I'm going to start just by saying that I went and studied marketing, and then I was fortunate to get a medical representative position. So I was a medical rep for 12 years. I'm fortunate to say that I launched Viagra in Bloemfontein. So that's something that you might know of me. So I can tell you tons of stories about that. So yes, I was a Viagra rep for 12 years. And it's so amazing. So everyone laughed for that. Meet me afterwards and I'll tell you everything about it. I think the amazing transition for me was, I was always an entrepreneur. I remember I was repping when I was studying marketing for Benson and Hedges, and after, at night when we did our promotion work, we got the cartons of cigarettes, and when I got at the hostel, I would sell the loosies to everyone in the hostel to get some extra money. So I think that was something that was always inside of me. I always had a plan. I never, went to my dad and say, listen, I don't have money when I was studying. I always made a plan, and I think that's where you are born with it, I think, in a way. And I actually had a prophecy. One of my friends said to me, I got a prophecy that you're going to work with young people and young children. I thought, I'm going to give some Sunday school classes. I resigned after the first Sunday because it wasn't for me. And but actually after that, the opportunity came my way to open up my own branch. And it was actually a step of faith. I resigned 24 hours when I got the opportunity, taking the leap of faith, just getting out of the industry. It was an amazing industry to be in, to teach me all the life skills that I had and the people skills. But taking that step within 24 hours to open up my own business. So that's where the transition came for me.
Marvelous. Yolandé.
Good to know, my friend. That's one thing I didn't know about you. Ladies and gents, I'm Yolandé from Perky Jams, and also I'm very honored to say that I'm in partnership with Anri next to me with Miss Free State. Leslie, I truly believe that you are born to whom you're supposed to be. I knew from a very young age that I'm an organizer and a planner, and I visualize, and most of all, I'm a dreamer. I've got so many dreams. And especially for us as young individuals, you've got so many dreams and so many things, and there's always this voice inside of you that say, you can't do it, or you can do it. So it's always you understand what I'm saying? But I just knew from a very young age that I was born to be in the position that I am today. Yes, a lot of things in my life forced me to mature a lot quicker than I had to. And sometimes, you think about it and you go, would it have been different? Would my life have turned out different if my circumstances weren't the same? And I wouldn't choose it any other way. Now, for me, it's the same as what Anri said. I always had a plan. Everything in life, I was the one that they go, no, we don't have money to do this. And I go like, I've got a plan. Let's sell my Barbie clothes. I've got so much doll clothes. Let's sell that. And you make extra pocket money. I was telling you the story outside that my dad has been a developer, and I grew up with my dad. So, I don't want to say that how do you put it? A girl always wants to grow up with their mom, but unfortunately things doesn't always work out that way. And for me, that was the best thing ever. So I grew up with him, and he's this businessman, and he's strong ways, and you have to work for things. He was that kind of guy that if you do not earn what you want, then you don't get it. You do not buy anything if you do not have money. So we always had to make a plan for it. So being in his business and growing up with him, I had the opportunity to do his books when I was a young girl. Now, me and maths, not really that good, but it was my opportunity. I saw the leap of faith. So I was doing his fortnight, payments, and I saw, oh, goodness. Every second week, someone would come and they're like, can I borrow 200 rand? Can I borrow 300 rand? And I said, I thought to myself and I said to my dad, listen, I'm going to start a cash loans. I might be a little bit young, but I think this is a brilliant opportunity. So I started taking my pocket money and borrowing it out and making money. And that's, the more you do that, the more you learn and the more you see business opportunities. And that's how you grow. And it's the same as in matric. We still call it matric. Do you still, yeah, okay. And there's no grades and standards and whatsoever. For me, it was still standard. And in matric, I said to my dad, listen, I want to go overseas. Back then, as a young individual, it was still normal for us to go overseas to London for 2 years. And he said to me, so, great idea. How are you going to get there? So I go like, you're going to pay for it, obviously. And he's like, well, no, if you want to go, make your own money to go. And you sit and you think and you go like, geez, you have to make money to go overseas, and it's such a big leap of faith. And I did it. I worked hard. I finished matric as any other normal person. I came back to Bloemfontein because I matriculated in Senekal, a very small town. Came back to Bloemfontein, started working at News Cafe back then. I don't know if you guys know. And I made money, and there I went. And then my life changed, because you go to a different country, a different culture. It's just there's nobody that's supporting you. And it was tough, but you make it or you break it. And if you're not a strong individual, it's not for you. But that was my turning point in my life, where I knew, this is it. And from then on, it just changed.
Wow. So with those backgrounds, you started your companies. How did you go about doing it? Did you sit and write up a business plan? Yolandé, you said you're a dreamer. How did your businesses come to be?
You have to drink a cup of concrete and toughen up.
Yes, definitely. Leslie, I think that the main thing is, for me, my motto is, if your dream does not scare you, it's not big enough. I had a friend, and he wanted to open up a business with, printing stuff. And I like, let's get a warehouse and forklifters. And he's like, I just want one printer. I want to print it. I'm like, no, let's think bigger. So I started with a dream. I started with changing young people's lives. And I still remember my first day that I went, and I got a LARPA, where I went and I advertised on social media. 5 or 6 years ago, social media was definitely not what it is today. And by word of mouth, and I remember I said, I just want 8 people to register today. And 8 people registered. And 2 weeks later, I had another open day, and I said, can we just double that? And another 8 people registered. And I'm thinking, like, I have to start dreaming bigger. And I said, I will have 2,000 people in my span of 5 years to go through my hands. And I went to a bank, and I got some financial backing for that, because I realized that's what you need to do. You can't just think it's going to fall in your lap. I had, to make a loan, and that was driving me again, because for repping for 12 years, I don't know who of you know what a rep salary is. It's a huge salary that you get. You have your, I didn't even know what the petrol price was. I had a company car, my cell phone was paid for, my medical aid was paid for. I didn't, that was like, when I started my own business, I was like, why do I pay for my cell phone? Someone else was paying for that for 12 years. And you get a reality check, because I really think you fall into a comfort zone. And the moment I started doing that, I realized by the 25th, some things are going to go off my account and I need to make it work. And that's where you actually jump in and you start realizing you've got a loan to repay, you've got rent to pay, you've got a cell phone to pay, you've got, petrol to pay. And that's when you start getting out of that comfort zone. That's where you actually start grinding and working, burning the midnight oil, getting new ideas, getting new plans, and realize that no one else is just going to pop up and say, here's your monthly rent, or we love you, we'll pay for your petrol this month. It's not happening. Even though I had a husband that also had a sustainable job, I was raised to be an individual, and I know that I've got a place as well in my household to sustain. So I just think that was driving me a lot to do that and to know that I've got an accountability with the step that I was taking.
My story is a little bit different. As I explained to you guys earlier, that I grew up with my dad. So for me, growing up, life wasn't always as easy as what people would presume it would be. When I decided to go overseas, I had a mission for that because I had to look after my mom financially. So it was a big step for me, being such a young girl. And I know a lot of people can relate to it, that not everything in life comes easy. Not everything is handed to you on a silver platter. Yes, people look at you today and they go, yes, but you're married to a businessman and this and that. But it's not always that easy. It's not always as it is. And I knew that I had to make a difference, because I knew if I had to work for a salary, I would never be able to look after her. And that was my promise. My promise was that I will do whatever I can to support her. And it was a big decision, and a big decision for an 18-year-old to take on, and that was my drive. So that's why I get back to the point where I don't want to change anything in my life. I'm happy and I'm fortunate that everything in my life turned out the way it did. Because today I go, Dad, thank you for being my business backing, and Mom, thank you for being the drive. Thank you for being the purpose. And I had a chat with young students the other day, and I said, the main thing for people in life, young or old, or no matter where you are in your life, if you want to pursue a career, you should not forget your purpose in life. Because your purpose is your drive. Regardless where you start, regardless if it's in the direction you want to be, your purpose is your purpose. And all of us have been in positions and worked for people and been employed in positions where you didn't want to be, which is actually sad to say, but you've done it to use it as a stepping stone. And I've done that, and I'm proud to say, because that's where I am today, that I've taken on, yes, I've worked for people before, even though people don't think that. Even though I believe I was a born entrepreneur, I've worked for people. I've had dreams. I had things that I had to do to save my money and take the leap of faith and say, today, like what Anri said, today is the day that you say, fail it or make it, I'm taking this opportunity and I'm going to go with it.
And so basically, it's investing in yourself, whether it's getting a loan, whether it's saving up through various experiences. And as you've touched on, your experiences have set you up to succeed in your individual businesses. And another element of success is collaboration, which is where Miss Free State.
Yes, I think that, yes, Leslie, that's something that I've learned through this Yolandé, and there's one other person in this audience tonight, Tony Ping, that word, when I see collaboration, I see Tony. I think that was, he really, brought the word to Bloemfontein. And at first I was like, collaborating, I don't know if that's going to work. But once we've started, I've realized how businesses in Bloemfontein can support each other. And I've also seen businesses that didn't want to do that fail. Bloemfontein is too small if you don't want to collaborate. If you think you're going to backstab people and you're going to just go like, I'm going to make it on my own, you will not make it in Bloem. Bloem is too small for that. It's big enough for collaborations. I've been collaborating with other modeling schools. We've been collaborating with other beauty pageants. But the best collaboration that I could have done was with Yolandé. And that also came by default, I think. I mean, I was in a partnership with someone else, with Miss Free State, for 5 years, and we went to Yolandé for a sponsorship. And that's how she came on board, and she was like a sponsor. And the year after that, we thought like, well, she's a businesswoman. We needed to do the marketing and becoming the managing director for 2 years. And after that, we decided one night we're buying our other partner out. Because we had the same vision that we wanted to go to. So collaboration, collaborating with, in my industry especially, with Bronwyn is sitting here of BH Makeup, collaborating with the makeup artists, with several other people in our industry, that's priceless. There's no price tag that you can put on collaborations, definitely from my side.
It's scary. It is. Because not everyone works together well. Not at all. There's a lot of vicious people out there, and there's a lot of people that would stab you in the back. But this is working. This is like a marriage. You fight and you recover, and you fight and you recover, and it's making us stronger. So for us, the collaboration with Miss Free State was the best decision ever. And it wasn't easy, when the decision came on hand and we had to sit, we go like, sure, how do you do it? Do you do 51%, 49? Do you do 55? How do you do it? How do you do it that there's always one person? And we were tossing and turning, and we would, it was coffee date after coffee date, and we like, we just couldn't get to common ground. And one day we phoned each other and we go, listen, let's just sit. And we sat down and we go like, I need you, you need me. We can't do this without anyone else. And that's where we decided, you know what? Even though if we agree or disagree or whatsoever our road forward might be, this is us. And we're going to make it work.
And I also think there was an emotional attachment from my side. I've been working, before she got on board, this was my baby. I've been working with Vian Lawrence, who was the founder of Miss Free State. And I was feeling like, this is my baby, I don't want to give it over. And I don't know, so you get attached to a brand, and you get like, but this is it, I've nurtured it, I've napped it, I've burped it like a baby. But then one day you realize that, exactly what Yolandé said, we needed each other. Not to give 50-50, but to get 200% from each other. And that's, I think, how it worked. And going from the collaboration into a partnership, my dad always said there's one ship that's not sailing, and that's a partnership. But somehow, like Yolandé said, we are two total different people. But it's working, and that's what's making this so nice for us, is that the collaboration went into a partnership with a friendship, and juggling those three is actually, it's working.
Many startups and aspiring entrepreneurs think, you've got to do it yourself, and there's a lot of DIY, lists, WikiHows on how to start a business, and, people aren't sure, partnership, not partnership. Have you guys got a structure to your partnership? How do you approach being behind the brand together?
I think I'm a very unorganized person. I will say that about myself. Now I'm free. Now I can go on. But I'm a dreamer. So I'm like I take helium balloons and I blow them up, and this is my idea that I've got, and before I can tie it down, I've got a new idea, and I let this helium balloon go, and I'm like, I love this new idea. And I think that's why this is working, because before I can blow up my next helium balloon and let this one go, Yolandé takes the balloon, she ties it up, and she's, grounding it. She's like, stop, let's focus on this, let's work. She's got like a lot of books and, notes and calendars, and I'm like, why do you have all this stuff? Because I'm a pay as you go and I'm a lastminute.com type of person, and she's the one like, this is how we need to do it, and when are we structuring this meeting, and okay, no, you're running with something, let's get back to this. So I think our personalities fulfill each other. She's got the more structured personality. I've got the woo, I just want to do everything and, let's try the new idea personality. And that's working for us. So I won't say there's a blueprint on anything. I don't think there's a blueprint on pageants. I think really every single person works with the pageant and do it like they want to do it. But this helium balloon, tying it up, it's working for us.
You know what, it's like what Anri is saying, Leslie. The funny thing is, I think when people want to go in a partnership, you look for someone that's exactly like you. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Because if there's no one exactly like you. My dad always said, there's only one chef in the kitchen, okay? Meaning that our partnership works because we're two complete, total opposites. And that's why it's working. If you two exactly the same people in one business, you're going to bump heads the whole time because you're going to step on each other's toes. Yes, we get cross with each other. That's why I said it's like a marriage. We fight, we make up, we fight, we make up. But the common ground is the core of what our business is all about. And Miss Free State is making a difference in the community. Miss Free State is not a beauty pageant like everyone sees it. Everyone sees your beauty pageant and they see Miss Free State and they see Miss South Africa and they go, oh my word, it's just diamonds and crowns and all of that. But it's not. It's not about that. I think Nala that's in the audience tonight, she can vouch for that. It's bloody damn hard work. And it's not just diamonds and glamour and everything that people think it is. You do this because you want to make a difference in the community. We want to take young individuals, sculpt them, put them back into, into the world and kind of, define that rough diamond.
And teach life lessons. I really believe, we're not controlling anyone that's a winner for that year. We're managing her. We don't spoon feed her. We put her out there and say, this is your platform. How are you going to use it? We have a meeting once every 6 weeks only, asking her, how are you doing? Do you need help? If you're not asking for help, we're not going to give it. We're not your moms. We're here to manage you. We're not here to control you. You need to use this platform, and the way you're going to use this platform is going to determine how you're going to manage your year. And we really want to give them, we want to sculpt them and learn them the ways that we bumped our heads against, and teach them to go out in the community again, becoming a businesswoman, doing the things that we actually were walking on the gravel road, trying to tar the road for her. But she needs to take that opportunity.
So talking about perceptions of industries, I mean, every industry is challenging and every industry's got its, I work in entertainment, and I mean, there's a lot of perceptions around that. Pageants. So we know that Miss Free State does develop the community and you develop young girls. Do you ever get that people believe you're just in it for the money?
Yes, definitely. Not a lot of people support pageants, but once you sit down with them and you give them our brain card of what our competition is about, it's not just about wearing a crown. It's not just about being a beauty queen. It's beauty with purpose. It's taking a young individual, walking a road with them, supporting them, shouting, screaming, crying, laughing, building them up, and putting them back into, back into the shark cage to teach them to fight, to be the strongest swimmer. And people don't, when you go and asking for sponsorship, number one, is difficult, especially coming from established businesses, Anri from hers and me from myself. People have this perception of, you've got your own business, you do your own thing, now you're sitting in front of my, in my office, knocking on my door, asking me for money. And that's difficult. It's difficult for myself and Anri to do that as well, because now you're so used to giving and doing this and doing that. And yeah, it comes to Miss Free State and you've got, listen, Miss Free State is a self-funded organization. And they go like, but you've got enough money. Why don't you? You go like, no, you don't get it. we give not just time, but so much from ourselves in terms of funding, where people don't understand what you do for Pageant, especially in our situation. We don't have any big sponsors that gives you funding, that gives you a platform to do is what you want. We've got so many dreams and so many things that we want to pursue, but unfortunately, the funding is not always there. So every year we start back on a nought, and you have to go back and you have to go, listen, we need your support. We need you to believe in us and to support our pageant. And we are very fortunate that we've got a lot of people out there that supports us year after year after year. And it's good for us to see people believing in our brand, but it's what we put out there.
I think that's where collaboration comes in again, Leslie, because if you realize that if you look after your sponsorships as an entrepreneur, if you treasure that sponsorship, you can go back next year and you can collaborate with them. I always, that's something that we strongly believe in, that you can't just always sit and ask for money. You can't just every year go and tap your sponsors that's out there. You need to go back to them with something. You need to, return of investment is very important. That's like a very strong word for us, is if you sponsored us this year, how can we collaborate next year? How can we, give you a return of investment? How can we help you? So it's not always just by receiving, it's by giving back. And that's making it quite difficult if you're an entrepreneur. If you ask for money, and the next year you need to structure those things again to see how your sponsorship can get that return of investment. So it's very important to manage that if you're an entrepreneur, to see how you can tap maybe for 1 year from a big sponsor, but how are you going to invest in them for the next year?
And sponsorship for many people, even if it's just capital to get started or a naming sponsor to keep something going, how would an aspiring entrepreneur go about, what advice can you give them right now?
In marketing, they say no 9 times before they say yes. Okay? So if you're not persistent and you do not believe in your brand, people don't just say yes. You don't go and sit in the office and go, listen, I need your support. And they go, yes, of course. Let me help you.
Where do I write the check?
They don't. You have to build a relationship. You have to show them that you are serious about your brand. You have to show them that I'm in here to stay here. You have to show them that you are strong and you're not going to give up, even though if they say no. And a lot of times it happens in our private businesses and in our partnership. We see it now because you're strong and you fight for what you've got. People would go, oh my word, I want to be part of your brand. I want to be there. So you get a call and say, listen, I see you flooding social media. You're busy, you're crazy, you're like actually irritating, but I want to be part of your brand. I want to be there and I want to support you because I believe what you believe. And that's amazing because you don't give up. And that's what we're teaching the young girls as well, because they have to go out and raise money. The money is not for us to put in our pocket and drive a fancy car. No, it's not. The money that they're making is to pay the running costs, a part of it, to pay the running costs and to give back to our community. We feel very strong in helping where we can. So yes, they have to go out and they have to go ask for sponsorships, but we're teaching them a background. And so many times they come back and they go, I remember the first year I was part of Miss Free State, I was very tough. Okay, it was before I had a child, so I was like, you go out and you do it again. I do not take no for an answer. And after becoming a mom, I was like, okay,
They always cried on my shoulder and like, oh, we're so scared of Yolandé. And the next year she was the mom and I was the witch. I was like, you will go out and get the money.
So roles do change. But never give up. Never give up, because
and have a good business plan. I think that's very important. Go and set up what you want, how you want it, why you want it. Don't just go in and say, oh, you know what, I'm thinking of starting my new business and I want to I'm thinking of doing this or that. You need to have a plan. You can't, by any businessman, you can't walk into an office and don't have a plan. They want to know what their return of investment is going to be. That is marketing. Today, no one is going to invest if there's not something in it for them. That's unfortunately how business works.
But it's not only that. It doesn't always work the first time. But that's where you have to toughen up. That's like what I said earlier, drink a cup of concrete and toughen up. Because it's not always easy. A lot of people go, it's my dream, it's my vision to become an entrepreneur. So for argument's sake, let's use the example, I want to be a cupcake seller. Okay, which it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter what your dream or your vision is, or this is what your plan is going forward. So now, for example, you bake lovely cupcakes and you go to this awesome market and you sell one. Okay, now you go home. Now you're gonna go and you sit and you go, it didn't work. I'm a bad cupcake baker. It did not work. I'm giving up. This is not for me. I'm not a businesswoman. I can't do it. I'm done. I'm going back to my normal regime. This is it. But you do not go back to the drawing board and go, why did it not work? You understand? I always believe that constructive criticism is the best medicine in any business. So next time you're going to go and say, what do you like of buying a cupcake? What is your preference? Do a little bit of research. Ask the people and say, why would you buy a cupcake from me? So do your homework. Don't just give up. Go back to the drawing board, redraft your plan, and then fight it like a lion.
If you can push through that barrier where you actually want to give up, I strongly believe that times that you just want to give up and say, listen, this is not for me. I'm not worth it. I'm never going to be the best cupcake seller. Let's use that one. If you can push through that, that's where you're going to accelerate. Getting out of your comfort zone. Getting at that space where everything is uncomfortable around you. The way you do things, the way you get out of bed, the way you think, the way you structure. If you can push through that, that's where you're actually going to start accelerating. And that's when the phone calls and the mails, that moment when you want to give up and you can pursue a bit longer, that's when you're going to see the returns.
And having this insight that you now have through this journey, you must have made a couple of mistakes.
A lot, every single day.
Still making a lot of mistakes.
It's what you make from a mistake. I truly believe that you can see it in two ways. Okay, so you're either going to go lie down with your tail between your legs, or you're going to go and you're going to go say, this is the mistake we made. How can we try not to make it? Because I promise you, you're not going to make that mistake once. You're going to make it 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 times. It's like a child being naughty. Your mom say, don't smoke. You go, okay, I won't. What do you do when you turn around? You smoke. And you might smoke 2 times more than what you were supposed to. But it's how you handle the situation. So when you make a mistake, you're going to go back. Like I said now, you're going to go, okay, that was a complete mess. How are we going to rectify it? And not feel offended by it. And I teach my girls working for me as well every single day. Own up. It's not about passing the buck. If you make a mistake, you own up. We need to trust each other and be able to say, I made a huge mistake. How are we rectifying it? I always say, don't come with your problem, come with your solution. So you have to have an idea. You have to say, I screwed up big time. I bumped my car. But don't worry, it's already at the panel beaters. Think of how you can fix things in your life, but being negative. You said it earlier. There's a lot of us, and I used to be like that for a very long time in my life, where I used to see the worst in every single situation. Maybe it was the way I grew up. Maybe I tried to prepare myself that if the fall was not as hard, that I'll be able to survive. Maybe it was my survival, how do you put it? Yeah, your survival mode, to say I prepared myself for the worst and then I didn't feel that bad or I knew how to swim. But it's how you get up. you know.
I think the main word for me there would be, Leslie, is accountability. Own up, that's like Yolandé just said. If you made a mistake and if you have treated a sponsor bad or there was someone on your way, you know, as an entrepreneur, which didn't work out like you thought it would be, own up and take the accountability, drink a few stressums or rescues or whatever it takes and go head on. Just don't mail or WhatsApp. Make an appointment, show up and be that person to say, you know what, I've made a mistake. I'm only human. How can we fix this? We've made mistakes with huge sponsorships in the past, which we really had to make appointments. We cried, we sat in the car going like, you going in, no, you going in, no, we're not going in, let's cancel the meeting. But we own up and we said, listen, we made a mistake and how can we change this? I think that's the most important thing is, yeah, you know, just go and say, don't think of something and say, you know, it was actually her fault or whatever. Because the moment you start doing that, you're damaging your brand. The moment I say, no, it was actually Yolandé's fault, I am actually betraying my partner. If I go, you know what, it was a mistake in the organization, in the structure, we are going to rectify it, then you are owning up to your accountability.
So from business to family and personal lives, how do you balance, you're both mothers, you're both wives, how do you juggle and not let go of the balloon and keep that going?
You tried to keep all the balls in the air.
Oh my goodness, okay, excuse the pun there. I think for me, Leslie, I think we're at different stages in our lives, which is actually good. I've got two children, one is 11 and one is 9, so my schedule is hectic. I do all my business in the morning, in the afternoons I've decided and we've structured, I'm driving around, you know, next to the hockey field, I'm the mom running up and down, screaming, shouting, my children goes like that. I'm very loud. You hear me before you see me. And then at 5 o'clock, I start with my business, and at 9:30, I only get home, or 8:30 at night. So we had to change a lot of structure from, you know, being a medical representative on the road a lot, but I was home every night, you know, tucking in my children, reading them the Bible stories, you know, putting the food on the table. Now, that's my husband part that he needs to do. I'm giving classes and I'm changing lives there. But it was a decision that we made, and I think it's a partnership that you need to go into. And I think it's good for my children. A lot of people say, you know, you're really a good mom because you're not there at home at night. I believe my children, you know, before we go out every morning, we pray together. And Jaden, he's 9 years old. This morning, actually, he was praying and say, you know, thank you for mommy that also goes out and helps that we can have the extramural activities that we have. So I think it's a mindset that you need to have in the house, and that you need to have a partnership within your family structure. My children knows that 5 o'clock this afternoon, I'm going to my studio and I'm giving classes. And Daddy is going to be there and tuck them in. And, you know, so I think it's open communication, you know, crucial conversations in the house that we have. We have a family meeting once a week. And you know, sometimes it's not nice to hear that, but Mommy, you missed this, or you weren't there. He's having a school play tonight and I'm here. But they understand that, and I believe in my heart that they are going to grow up and look back and say, but you can't just sit and wait for life to happen. You need to go out and make it happen. And I believe strongly that the love that we give and the communication that we give in our house structure is going to teach them that life lessons. So I've changed my mindset about it. I don't feel that I'm a bad mom. I really feel that when I'm there. I'm putting down my phone. I'm spending quality time with them. And quality for me is much more important than quantity. And we're making the most out of every situation that we've got. So that's how we manage it.
Where do you want me to start? I'm married out of my culture. So I'm married to a different culture, if you put it that way. So for me, you don't always realize what a big impact that's got in your life. Because, yes, a lot of things change. So my husband believes that the place for the mother or the wife is at home. That's his cultural belief. So they believe that the husband provides and the wife should be at home, or the mom should be at home looking after everything that she must. But things, they're not the same anymore. It's not about that. You know, my husband soon realized that he can't tie me down. This is how he met me. This is how I'm going to stay forever. Yes, you have your children and you become a little bit softer, and your goals or things in your life change a little bit, and you have to make different decisions. It's like what Anri said, you know, it's all about time management. But, you know, I remember a few years ago, George was sitting and he's like, you know what? It's actually so rewarding to know that you're actually supporting us as well, because you also go out and you make a difference. It's not, you know, and I've got the world of respect for a mom staying at home, because it's very hard work. It's hard work. But it's just as hard to juggle your life and your career having kids, because there's pros and cons to everything that you do. But it's how you handle the situation. And just to come back to everything, like Anri said outside, during Miss Free State, I think our husbands filed for divorce like 4 times.
That last week especially, that's crazy and
You
hectic. We never
panel them a
know.
little bit and show them why they want to stay married to you, and then it's okay. But
They pitch every time when we have
Yes.
our crowning, and they are our biggest supporters.
they
Definitely.
are there. Deep down, you would never say that, but they are there. But that's just how you balance life.
And have you ladies got some advice for aspiring, like just perhaps a quote or something you've experienced, or whatever it is you think when you're at your lowest and you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore? What can you share with aspiring
Never,
entrepreneurs?
ever give up. Never.
And my motto that I hold on to is, if your dream does not scare you, it's not big enough. If you don't have butterflies when you get up in the morning, if you don't have that drive that pulls you out of bed, then you're not where you need to be. You haven't found your purpose yet. If you start, you know, juggling and you cry and laugh and your heart beats faster and slow at the same time, that's where you know, I'm at the right place. I'm changing lives. I'm juggling, and maybe it's not easy, but definitely never gives up. That place where you want to give up, if you can just push through that, if you can just take that step of faith and go, I don't know how the 25th, when all my deductions is going to go off, I don't know how that's going to happen, but I'm going to make it happen. If you can get to that point, then you've moved out of your comfort zone, and that's actually where life happens. Life doesn't happen in your comfort zone.
You know what, Leslie, I want to tell you a short story. Like I said, you have to find your purpose in life, okay? Not all of us always know what your purpose is, but I'm very fortunate to have a person in my life that's been part of my family for the past 13 years. And I see her as my second mom, and I see her as the person that helps me with my children, and she guides me and she supports me, and she's always there. And Tidi started working for me 13 years ago. Okay, so she's been through a lot with me. And a few years ago, we sat down and we had a cup of tea around the table, and I said to her, Tidi, what's your purpose in life? You know, I've known you for so many years. I know you look after your family and you do this and you work so hard, because she never, ever disappoints me. Never. She's always there. She's always got my back. She never complains. She's never sick. She's just this rock in my life. And she told me the story. Look, I knew the story, but I never paid close attention to it. And she was a twin. She had a twin sister, and her twin sister got killed on their way to work one day. Not got killed, she died. She had a stroke, and she died before they went to work. And at that stage, her sister had a 6-month-old baby. And that's what I admire about her culture. She knew that regardless what, that's her purpose. She must take this baby and she's going to look after this baby. And she works bloody damn hard to support them. And she fights hard. And she bulldozed the road for them. And I sit and I look at her and I go, I admire you so much because you've never given up. When you speak about Boisile is your son. It's never my sister's son or this one or that one. And I just, you go back and you go back through all your memories and your things and your purpose and everything, and you go like, no matter what your purpose in life, no matter if your purpose is to reach this goal or to reach a goal weight or to make 10,000 rand or to open up your own business or to be promoted to a next position where you work, that's your purpose. It's the difference you make. It's not, yes, we are here because we are entrepreneurs. We were born to be entrepreneurs. We knew from the beginning that we're going to fight and this is what we're going to do. But that's not everyone's purpose. Everyone can't be the same. Your purpose might be different, but you should just never lose the value in what you believe.
And in our discussions prior to the interview, you guys really, really talk about purpose, passion, loving yourself, investing in yourself, and, illustrating what is in your heart.
I just wish there was 48 hours a day. Because 24 is not enough.
I wish I could have cloned myself because I know what I want and how I want it. But Leslie, we've got an illustration, if you won't mind us doing it. I've got Yolandé that I'm going to use it on. So if you guys won't mind, I gaan dit hier neersit. Guys, het reg. Okay, so can everyone hear me? All right. So
my purpose in life is really, I feel that if you can realize who you are, that moment when you realize that amongst all these masks that you have and all this stuff that you need to juggle with, and that moment when you find yourself, that is where you will find your purpose. So how I always illustrate this is, you're going to stand up. I'm the guinea pig. In the morning when you get up, you think of your day. And you need to start thinking of all the different things that you're going to go into. So what happens with us is that we start with, you start dressing. Guys, I'm sorry, but when you're a girl and a lady, you look for that something that defines you. So one of you will have like a purple or a reddish bra or something on, because that you hide that, but that's actually who you are and that's empowering you, but it's not showing actually. But when you start dressing up then again, then you think of your day and you think of you going into this business world that you need to structure. So you put on this jacket of being a businesswoman, right? So you put that mask on of thinking, I'm going into my business day to day, I'm going to work, and there's some people that I need to impress there. And then you think of that one person in your working environment, which is actually getting along with her so well, so you're hiding a piece of you just so that you can't get to your heart that much, so you're putting that personality on that morning, like, I'm maybe bumping into her, so I'm just going to put this guard on, this mask that also is going to keep her at arm's length today. Then you're thinking of the business meeting you're going to go into, this with a few business people that's dominating and that you feel a little bit inferior with. So you need to dress and put that mask on and that personality trait for them as well. So you put an extra mask and an extra personality on that, because that you need to defend yourself and become, come over as that business person as well. And then you remember there's one or two ladies in your job environment or your working environment that you're working in, who knows you because you had a ladies' night or a bachelor party with them. They've seen you on the table, they've seen that you took a smoke, or even though not smoking. So you have to put on the party hat as well, and be that part of it, because you're going to bump into them as well in your day. You're going to see that people, and you need to just have that side of you as well. And then you're a mom, and this afternoon you need to next to the hockey field and be the mom and being on every single committee that there is, and having that personality as well. You're thinking of this day and there's a hockey game, you need to do that as well. And then you know that there's that one or two people that knows your heart a little bit better, and you didn't have a good night at home, or you feel like you're just not the mom that you need to be, and you need to hide that from them. So you disguise that because your eyes are the windows of your soul. And at the end of the day, this is you leaving home. And you're all cluttered up, and you don't know who you are. Or you're the businesswoman, or you're the mom, or you're the party girl, or you just have this roles and this mask that you need to portray for this day. And if you can just realize that if you can just be yourself, if you can be that person sitting in a room having a discussion as a businesswoman, being that same person against the people that knows your party hat, if you can be that mom next to the hockey field, or the dad next to the hockey or rugby field, and if you can be that person that even if you have pain, that you sometimes just know it's okay to not have the best day at all. If you can realize that you don't need to walk like this out of your home, if you can just expose yourself a little bit to the environment next to you, then you find your purpose. Then people start loving you for who you are, not for all this, because who are you at the end of the day? So this is just an illustration to show that don't walk out of your house in the mornings when you want to start up your own business. If you want to be that person that you're dreaming of, don't clutter yourself with this. If you can realize that being you is enough, the people that likes you and want to collaborate with you because of you, not because of this, they will collaborate with you. The doors will open, the mails will start coming in, the phone calls will start coming in. The moment you start doing this, you're getting a lot of people that's hypocrites, that's pretending, that's backstabbing people in your business. If you start being content, then you get your purpose, and you will realize that you are good enough. Being you will be enough.
Love yourself.
Definitely.
The moment when you start loving yourself, look, social media portrays the image to a lot of people differently than what it actually is, okay? So you see all this glitz and glam and this and that, and social life and events and up and down, but it's not always like that. It's not always like that at home. So people say, geez, you've got a busy life, you're always out and drinking and partying and socializing. It's not always about that, but the moment you find your core and you believe in yourself, and regardless of what you do, you have to stand your ground, and be confident, because if you don't have self-love, nobody is going to respect you. And yes, a lot of people's got insecurities, and you try to hide it. But if you're confident, regardless of how you look, regardless of your hair color, regardless of your size, of your preference, of your language, of your culture, regardless of that, if you've got confidence in who you are, it reflects to everyone, and it opens up.
And it will be a success. But I don't think anyone is taking you up seriously.
Very good old friend of mine said once, you never leave the house not fully dressed, meaning that you should always dress as if you're going to bump into your ex-boyfriend.
We're certainly not like this. Ladies, thank you so very, very much, and thank you for that illustration. That really, really portrays what purpose is all about. So thank you so much for your time, and I'd like to open to the audience for questions.
Hello, ladies. I've had the pleasure of working with you guys before, and you're doing amazing things. I've got two questions. First one is, being partners and in a situation where you can't exactly vote, when you have an issue that you cannot agree on, how do you move away from a big disagreement, or when you're at loggerheads or there's a conflict about business, being only two partners? Number two, both of you are in or have backgrounds of doing business which is not big in Bloemfontein. One, marketing and PR. Two, modeling. And then people ask you, why are you still in Bloemfontein?
I'll take number one. Being in a partnership, for us, it's not about being stronger than the other one. It's not about winning or empowering or overpowering another one. It's to find common ground. Okay, it doesn't work like that in every single partnership. It's exactly what Anri said. There's one partnership who doesn't work. Ship that doesn't sail, and it's partnership. But we've been fortunate. We don't always agree on everything, but we manage to find our common ground. Anri will say red, I will say blue. We'll fight and scream about it. At the end of the day, it would be purple, and we go, that was a bloody good decision, you know?
And
But
we
it
really
works.
fight. We're two very loud, two loud, expressive people. So we had heated fights, but we always remember there's that golden line of keeping friendship a friendship and keeping business business. So when we're in a business mode, we do take each other head on, but we always, we never leave a meeting without getting a common ground.
But that's the thing, you know, and it's the same as in my personal business. We're very heated, very heated. So I'll be very quick to type an email in caps. Then you know you're in trouble.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the worst to receive. I've received one of those recently.
So once my conversation goes over into capital letters, you know you're in deep trouble.
Don't shout at me.
So I do that, and when I'm very upset, I do repeat myself the whole time. But it's not personal. It's not a personal thing. It's not that I think because you made a mistake that you've got a poor character or anything like that. We're human. I make mistakes, you make mistakes, you make mistakes in every situation in our life, in every part of our life, being a mother, being a wife, being a business partner. You go back and say, you screwed up, girlie. Toughen up. Now, let's sort it out.
I have a lot of concrete in my garage. Shakes, to get to your second question, why Bloem? Why not Bloem? I really, really believe, I just love Bloem. I'm coming from Bethlehem, which is a very small town, and I always thought South Africa does not have a big enough city for me. I want to go to San Francisco, I want to see the lights, I want to be in the huzz and buzz of everything, and I just wanted to do, like the fast lane. But I fell in love with Bloemfontein because of its people, because of people working together, because of people collaborating, because of people forgiving you if you've made a mistake. They never hold grudges longer than a week, two,
Do you have to own up
maybe
to
a
it?
month, if you own up to it. And I really feel the support that you get from the community. Maybe we're, like sort of fishes in a pond, and we swim together, and it's working for us. I'm doing business all over the country. I'm managing director of Ace Model South Africa, so I fly a lot, I work with a lot of people, but I've never come to a community where people support each other within the industry. I mean, I'm working with other modeling agencies, we're working well together, we are competition, but we do collaborations. And I don't think you just get there at other places, where you really can sit down and think, maybe it's too small. You can't sit in a coffee shop and talk about someone else because the person next to you might know about them. I heard my life story in the salon the other day, not knowing that was my life story. So Bloem is really small enough but big enough to do that collaborations. And by knowing that you've got this community of support, and I think, a lot of people look at Bloem and think, you're behind the time, things will happen maybe 2 years when it happened in Joburg, maybe 2 years later it will come here. I don't believe that. I really believe we're the makers and shakers in the industry, and we're not a step behind any other industry in the whole of the country. I just think you've got a better opportunity because you've got a community that is ready to support, and we're not, backstabbing each other. Obviously, there is businesses that will do that, but the majority will support, and I think that's why I love Bloemfontein.
You're only as good as the last event, okay? You should never stop dreaming. You should believe in yourself and always remember your purpose. And charity starts at home. That's very important. Because if things is not good at home, things will not be good in life. So you have to remember that even though you're a shark in that tank and you're fighting for survival, that you have to make sure that being a mom, you know, that everyone is protected. And you can't always make everyone happy and you can't always please everyone, but you have to be very careful in your industry. You have to be very careful. So you have to always, before you do something, and yes, we attack in our industry. That's because it makes you better, you know, so sometimes you have to fight back. But you always have to think of the consequences and the outcome of it and how you're going to handle it.
And never burn a bridge.
Yes.
In Bloom, never burn a bridge.
It's very true.
Good evening, Yolandé and Anri. I've got two questions, one for each of you. Yolandé, earlier you had spoken about how you used to have a character of where it's almost like you're always preparing for doomsday of some sort, where you prepare for the worst, and then you said that you've changed from that mindset. What brought on that change for you? And then to Anri, what would you like to be remembered for?
I love your voice. It's very strong. I love it. Okay. Growing up was not as easy as everyone would presume it was. I've got an absolutely amazing mother. But due to unforeseen reasons, she couldn't look after me when I was a young girl, okay? So when I was little, I used to prepare myself for the worst case scenario. And it was my surviving code. It was making me survive everything in life because I would expect the worst in a situation. And when it happens, I would be, okay, it wasn't that bad, or I survived, and I prepared myself for it. So I always prepared for the biggest knock, and then I was fine until I met my husband, okay? And he was like, what's wrong with you? You always see the negative in things. And I go, no. It's not the negative. I'm just preparing myself. So I'm preparing myself for the crash so that I know how to get up, that I'm strong enough to say, I fell down, I'm okay, I can survive. So there's a very fine line in being negative and preparing yourself for the worst case scenario, because then you build. But I get his point, and things has changed for me. So, you know, if you're not positive about things, positive things won't come to you, because they say, I don't know if you guys know the book Laws of Attraction. Simple idea. Drive on a Saturday on month end. You are brave enough to go to the mall on month end, and you drive in Exhibit A, you drive and you go, there's no parking, there's no parking, there's no parking. And I swear, there's no parking. You'll drive around, and for an hour you'll be furious because there's no parking. Who's stupid enough to come to the mall on month end? You just go like, bad. But when you drive and you go, oh, sure, it's month end. I forgot it's month end. I'll find a parking. Don't worry, I'll find a parking. And true as, you know, there's a parking. And you go, oh, parking. It's the same as Woolworth's situation at the moment. I tend to always go left, and I know there's only like 10 parkings, and I go, I'm going to be lucky there's going to be a parking. And I promise you, every single time I turn in, I go like, you stupid. And then I go, oh, parking. You know, it's laws of attraction. So whatever you attract to you, that's what's going to happen. But like I said, there's a very, very fine line. So for me, it wasn't a negative thing. It was just preparing myself for the fall, and that helped me through growing up. Now things has changed, but I'm still that person to go, the worst case scenario is that this might happen. So prepare yourself.
Thank you for the question. She is still like that. But she's getting better. The last 4 years, she's seeing a bit, the glass is half full, yeah. I would like to be remembered for for how I made people feel. I'm a very lastminute.com, and I've got no filter. So I sometimes tend to say things without meaning or hoping that someone will hear my heart when I'm saying that. So I will say things and then I go like, I can't understand why you took that up negatively. I actually meant it like very positively. So I don't want to be remembered for what I say, because I say a lot of things like this. I want to be remembered for how I made you feel when you were in my presence. I believe that I've got a giving heart and that I always tend to seek the good in everyone. I have my school, and there's a girl of me walking in Milan just now, the past week, doing Fashion Week, and that's amazing. But the girl who stopped eating her nails a week ago, that's much more, that's a celebration for me. I'm crying with her and her parents because she stopped eating her nails. So I want to be that person when you sit on your stoop when you're like 80 years old with your G&T in your hand, and you go like, you know what? Once upon a time, there was this crazy old lady who was giving me this finishing school classes, and she taught me something, but how she made me feel was, she made me feel that I was worth it. And that was, that's my dream, to be remembered for how I made you feel.
Hi, ladies. My question, and I'm going to give you an example. You spoke about return on investment when it comes to asking for sponsorships and those things. In terms of the young ladies in your schools, your models, in the example that I want to make, when I see clients, for instance, my good friend asks me, do you ever ask these people consultation fees? And I don't always, because for me, I have a plan with a specific client. So someone will come and see me, and he'll ask me at the end of the consultation meeting, but what is it going to cost me? And I will say, nothing but, how big is your database? So in terms of your models, in return on investment, do they ever refer people back to you? Does people come to you and say to you, listen, my child want to come to your school because so-and-so was here and you are two amazing people?
Okay. Being an entrepreneur or being a business person, like what you said, asking for a consultation or not for a consultation, it doesn't make you a good or a bad businesswoman. It doesn't. Asking a consultation fee, there's different ways, okay? So regardless if you ask or you don't ask, that's how you structure your business. Yes. There's a lot of people that come, we've got it every year that people go and say, we want our children to enroll to your program because we see the difference. Anri, if you can maybe take over with that. It doesn't matter how you run your business. It's what you believe when you run your business. It's how you structure it going forward. For argument's sake, you would ask a consultation fee. I don't. It doesn't make you better or me cheaper. You understand what I'm saying? But it's your return on investment. You've got a different structure, not asking for that. So you gain something else, which I might not. So I'm satisfied of what I'm charging and I'm getting, but you getting a bigger picture. So it's always having the bigger picture, a different plan. Does it answer your question? Not really.
Not really. But the second question what is your plan? Where are you going? Where do you see yourselves in 10 years' time?
Before we answer that, I just want to get back to your first question again. Return of investment definitely for me is that referral that I get. It's not necessarily the person that pays. It's the person that walks out of there having a word of mouth, bringing someone else to my table. I've got about 25 models in my school that don't have the finances to pay me at all. But if I can get out of those 25 models, if I can get one person that brings someone because I made them feel that they are worthy enough and that they want to enroll into the program, that for me is a return of investment. So I think that would be, classifying your rand value into your priceless value, like the MasterCard advertisement says. That for me is priceless. Getting people in on word of mouth because of what I was giving, my service that I was giving to them. In terms of your second question, I definitely see our business, our collaboration growing into one of the most prestige pageants in South Africa, not only in South Africa, but in the world. I want to be known as the pageant that teach young girls how to get in, out of the studying environment, being a student, being a young lady, walking into a business and being able to portray yourself as a businesswoman. I think that's both of our hearts. Entrepreneurship is one thing, but being able to get the knowledge that no book can ever teach you, no physical book can teach you the life lessons. I want that to be the biggest pageant where girls want to go, I want to enroll into this program because walking out of there, I will be able to be connected to businesses. We have connected ladies the past 2 years into businesses where they have started as interns, where they have started as, amazing business people going into finding their purpose. And I want this program to develop into a program which will be funded by the government.
Life doesn't have a manual, but we would like to be a chapter in your book. That's how we see it.
This is the last question. How do you keep their spirits healthy, being young women? If I look at the two of you, you look like models to me. So if you have 16-year-olds or 17-year-olds walk into your office, we were all girls at one stage in our lives, and you want to look nice, and you want to look sexy, and you want to look like a model, but maybe perhaps at night when you're in your room, you're indulging on some food. How do you help these girls?
I'm going to get back to the illustration that I did. I believe that if you can change something about yourself that you don't like, say for instance, you don't like your thighs or you don't like your stomach, if you can change that, then change that. But I can't change my crinkle cut toes. I really have crinkle cut toes, but I love them. I love the birthmarks that I have of my children. I came to a place where I accepted that, and that's the message that I portray over. If you can change something and you want to change that, then do it. Get to the steps. I can help you. We know enough people in the industry to get onto a program, healthy food, how to live on a healthy way. But those things that you cannot change, those things that came from your grandma's side of the family, the nose and the knees and the spot ore and the crinkle cut toes like I have, those things, if you can accept those things and start loving those things, then people will start loving you. If you don't accept yourself, if you don't believe in who you are, then no one else is going to invest in you or believe in you. So that for me is very, very important. If you can change something about yourself and you want to, I will help you get the ways to do that. But if there's some things that you just have to accept, I want to teach you how to accept and love those things.
The most important thing that you have to remember is that everyone is human. Everyone's got mistakes. You might not see it, but in Afrikaans they say, elke huis het sy kruis. Elke een fights sy battle. You might think, and it's very nice of you to say the two of you look like models. you know, and it's a big compliment because giving a compliment to someone is something that boosts you. It makes you feel better. But everyone's got insecurities. You just hide it better than the one next to you. But you have to remember that at the end of the day, you're still human. You still make mistakes. Nobody is perfect, but you are loved, regardless of what. You've got your best friend sitting next to you, and you might irritate the crap out of her sometimes, but she loves you for all your perfect and imperfectness. You know, she loves you for who you are. And the moment you see yourself like that and you believe in yourself, in life, in love, in business, in whatsoever you want to pursue in life, you have to find the common ground of it.
And I also think that it's a personal decision. I mean, my day is like fully stacked. So the only me time that I have is between 5 and 6 in the morning when I go to the gym. That's my time. But it's a decision I made. So I get up at 4:30 in the mornings. I don't sleep a lot. I believe that I'll sleep when I'm dead. And I try to pack in most of the stuff that I can. My gym time is from 5 to 6. And I know that if I want to change the way that I am or the way that I'm looking or something that I want to change, that's my responsibility. And I need to do what I need to do for that in my time. Not taking time from my family, not taking time from my business, but making time for myself. So it's a personal decision as well. And that's something I teach to all my children walking into my modeling school as well. So you've got a responsibility. And you can only complain if you've tried everything that you can to make that work. That was my housemate 20 years ago.
A little bit longer than that. Yeah, Anri and I come a long way. That one with the helium balloons actually organized my bachelorette party 12 years ago, if you remember. But yeah, ladies, thank you very much. From my side, it's actually just a very personal thank you. Anri knows a bit of where I've come from in my life, where I am now. The new business that my husband and I have started together, and the next move that we have to make from there. And goals, they get so emotional. Thank you. I needed this. I didn't know how much I did, but thank you.
Thanks, Inga.
Hi, okay, so sorry, I just want to know, so we've been speaking, or you've mentioned a lot about collaboration, specifically with partnerships within Bloemfontein area itself. So in terms of competitive edge, what would you say puts you above the rest?
Like I said, you're only as good as the last thing you've done. You have to stay innovative. That's the key. If you think, let me give you an example. Recently, I've got my business, Anri's got her business, we've got a business together, and recently, at the same time, without knowing it, we pursued a different leg in our businesses, okay? And we go like, oh my word, okay, right, so both of us are going to do the same thing at the same time, being at the same training in our own private capacity. And we sat down and we go like, okay, that's not as different as what you're saying, but that's what's working for us. So we go, okay, now we can either go head on and we can bump heads and we can fight for survival of the fittest, or because this is working for us, we can sit down and we can go, okay, my business, your business, let's do it together in some sort of way that we work with each other and not against each other. And it's the same as what Anri said. We're fortunate in Bloemfontein that even though you're in the same industry, you have to see how you can work with each other and not against each other. But everyone is not like that. And that's very sad because there's a piece of sun for everyone. It's the same as with beauty pageants. We can go and we can fight and fight and fight each other, but where is it going to get you? It's not going to get you anywhere. Yes, you have to make sure that you always make a difference. You do what you believe in, and you always try to stay a step ahead. That's now differently set to our new venture we're pursuing together, or not together, but individually, but it's working for us together. But you have to make sure that you stay on top, that you research, that you see what's out there, that you see what you can do different, that you can rectify your mistakes. Because mistakes, and I always say that when people criticize you, there's two ways you go about it. You either attack, and you go, but I'm not wrong, it's not me, you know, but that makes you weak. Or you can go and say, you're actually right. I did make a mistake. How can I better this? And when you acknowledge your mistake and you rectify it and you learn how to be better, that's when you're climbing the ladder. But when you think that I'm going to chunk Anri down because it's going to make my business better, you must remember the same way you're going up, that's the same way you're going down. It's very important.
Personally, in my Ace Models business that I have, there's a few other modeling schools in Bloemfontein as well, and it's quite hectic because you need to get the competitive edge. You need to always stay ahead. I mean, my dream is to be the biggest, the best. I believe that when you walk into my school, I can give you something back, but so does every other modeling school that does the same thing as I actually. So what I've done is I've done a lot of collaborations with my competitors, being kind and courageous. So I will always be kind, and I will always make sure that when I walk into a room and I see one of my competitive peers, that I have, that I can walk up to them and greet them. I never talk bad behind their back because I believe Bloem is too small. I believe that the competition must be there because that's what's keeping you on your toes. But to have collaborations with them without being like all shmushy with them and go like, oh, you're my best friend. They know that I'm not their best friend. I would like to collaborate with you in one or two things that I've done, but I'm still your competitive. So be on your toes because I'm going to be on my toes as well. And competition is amazing. That keeps you going. That keeps you on your edge. That makes you get up and go like, what were they just posting on Facebook? I need to top that. Without being like cruel about it, without being tried to down them, because the moment you start focusing on them, and what I've done this year is I've unfollowed all the modeling schools in Bloem because I was following them, and I've decided in January I'm unfollowing all of them. I've unfriended all of them, phoning them and saying I love you still, but I'm not going to follow you on Facebook anymore because I've got my vision, my purpose. Whatever you're doing, I bless you in that business, but I'm focusing on what I'm going to do, and that's working for me. I hear with people phoning me and telling me they're doing that and they're doing this, and I'm like, bless them. I hope it's a success. But the moment you start focusing on your goal, knowing that there's competition, keeping you on your toes, but without being like, what are they doing? I need to do the best. That's what was helping for me this year especially. And thanks, Inga. Thank you.
Anri and Yolandé, thank you so much for your time tonight. We've reached the end of our program, and I would just like to mention again, Startup Grind Bloemfontein happens every single month, and it wouldn't be possible without partners, our audience, local business owners that come out and show your support every single, well, perhaps not every single month, but that really our community has grown. And our local partners, I'd like to say thank you to Blank Designer Goods. Michael Peng has put Startup Grind Bloemfontein's brand in a league of its own. We get compliments across the world complimenting what our flyers look like. Thank you to Meraki Photography. Our images and our social media and our website looks fantastic. Karine Buerta, thank you so much. Zita, I cannot pronounce your surname. And I've known her the longest, actually, out of everyone, from Luri Shorts. Our videography, once again, coming from little old Bloemfontein, we've received compliments from across the world that we've got the best videos on the platform. I'd like to thank Cubaroo, previously known as the marketing department. They volunteered to assist us with our online presence. Being a tech platform, it's absolutely essential, and we thank you so much for that work. I'd also like to thank BH Studios, Bronwyn and her team, for transforming the faces behind the team. Thank you, ladies, so much. Your team's brilliant, and please, they're here tonight. Do chat to them. And I'd like to thank our team. Everybody that volunteers, Naledi that does the sound, you know, it really wouldn't be possible at all if we didn't get together and, you know, have a shared vision. I'd also like to thank our national sponsors. Standard Bank is a national sponsor, and they sponsor all the chapters in South Africa. Thank you all very, very, very much. There are representatives from Standard Bank here tonight. They have fantastic products for SMEs and businesses, so please do have a chat if you can identify them here tonight. There they are. Thank you very much to PayFast. PayFast is an online payment platform that you can integrate into your website, optimizes and streamlines payments. And thank you very much to Microsoft. Thank you to 59 Plenty. I haven't seen Patso tonight, but the use of this venue, we use only local venue owners, as we don't see, it's not in our vision to go to a big corporate or the Marriott or whatever hotel group and have a conference there. So we really thank every single business owner in Bloemfontein that's made this possible. Thank you all so much, and enjoy the rest of the evening.